Hello, nice to see you. And today we are having a new live from Zhytomyr. And I'm again from the restaurant because, of course, since it's the Easter holiday and people are taking the Paschas. Pascha is the cake, Easter cake in Orthodox branch of Christianity, and it's kind of cozy and family like atmosphere in our town. But there is no internet outside, and it's more comfortable to broadcast from the cafe. So I've decided to do it here. But today is the Easter, and everybody is celebrating. What can you say about this holiday? Are you following those customs and traditions, or do you follow the overall Western world time of Easter, which is 1 month before this year? Because each year there is a different date for the Easter in Orthodox branch of the Christianity. So, do you celebrate Easter, and what do you do on Easter? You can tell me this in the chat. So, the topic is how do you celebrate Easter in Japan? Of course, I can Google it. I can ask Chat GPT, and but it would be nice to communicate with you and ask you about it. How do you celebrate Easter in Japan? Okay. So in Ukraine, usually I'm not that truly Christian person because it's a bit it's a bit private, it's a bit personal information, but my mom was born in the era of the Cold War between the USA and between the USSR. So usually Christian customs were not that followed in the USSR. That's why I'm not celebrating Easter that traditionally. But when I had more relatives from father's side and from mother's side together, we were celebrating Easter, of course. There are plenty of customs to boil and paint eggs, to use different colorants for eggs, or there is one traditional way is to use the shell or husk. The new word, by the way, for the cover of vegetables and that you need to peel off, which is husk. You need to use the onions husk to color your eggs, and then this is the tradition to um, kind of damage the shell of each other's egg to celebrate the resurrection of Christ in such a way. However, because Ukraine was traditionally pagan country, means before the Christianity came to Ukraine in 988th year, because it was at that time the state of uh, Kiev Rus was quite competitive towards the Byzantine Empire. And even some kings, they conquered the Byzantine Empire. They didn't conquer, but they conquered them economically, so they can pay taxes and buy the goods. And because this area of Ukraine is having a lot of woods, and there were a lot of wild animals in that woods, that we had a lot of fur and honey from bees from the forests. This is not, well, some people like different climates. That's why in the 21st century, people can migrate to any country they want to live in. But Ukraine, at that time, there was no the word Ukraine. There was Kiev Rus. So there were a lot of these kind of typical for these this nature and this area and this climate goods, and we were trading them with the Byzantine Empire, and that's why to protect to protect the land against wars, the marriages happened between this kingdom and Byzantine Empire. That's why Ukraine became Christian and became Orthodox. That's why, but originally Ukraine was pagan and polytheistic. So we have some people truly believe that this custom of baking Easter cakes and boiling eggs is more pagan than Christian. But anyways, people celebrate, and it's a good way to gather together with all the family members and to celebrate, just to have rest, to have a rest, uh, to have a rest and spend time together. We are not talking about social connections, but it sometimes. Yeah, I've been to one Buddhist country. I've been to Sri Lanka. But by the way, when I was studying Christianity and Islam and all the uh, Abraham religions, monotheistic religions, I read that most of Japanese are Christians. So you can prove it or you can prove me wrong. But Hirotaka has just written that most Japanese are Buddhists. Um, okay, that's good to know from the first person to know. Okay, um, I've been to Sri Lanka and I could see people going to Buddhist temples, and there were plenty of monuments of Buddha around the town. I've been to the town Vaduva on the western coast of Sri Lanka island, and yeah, of course, if you enter the university in Ukraine, you will have the subject of philosophy, and you will learn about the Buddhism and the sacred tree underneath which Buddha was sitting and trying to catch the state of nirvana. Of nirvana means the state in which you have any desires. But so, can you tell me, not officially, not from Google, not from ChatGPT, not from Wikipedia, just Hirotaka? Can you, Hirotaka? Can you can you tell me whether it is common for Japanese people to try to get in the nirvana state. Nirvana state. Because because when I have no desires, it's a bit. I was even reading the book about Siddhartha Gautama, that he was trying to teach people on the way in his village about his philosophy. So it's nice to learn about Buddhism, of course. But uh, it would be nice to communicate with you. Is not well known. Okay, so which holidays do you celebrate in Japan? Um, do you have many Buddhist temples in Japan? Actually, I was into religion in 2014 when I married my Muslim husband, and since before that point, I was not traveling except Russia and Belarus because I have relatives in Russia. I had, and I still have, despite war. But I started learning religions only then. Before I was into the religion of the office and the corporate culture, because usually when you have such a busy schedule, you don't have really time to investigate deeply about the different religions and a lot of customs, and traditions of different religions of the world. But actually, uh, in Wikipedia, they say that Japanese more um, youth, young people in Japan, is becoming Christians. Okay, great. Just a bit of traditional stuff. I thought you would be interested to know about religion in Ukraine. Yeah. Okay. So I know that on Thursday, because I had a lesson with one of my friends from Japan, and he told me, "Great, it is nice. It is nice to learn more about Japanese culture and Asian." Um, Well, I've been to China, and it's the farthest I've been to from Ukraine towards the east. And 10 hours on the plane seems to be not that much, but actually it's a bit far. So it's nice to learn more about Japanese culture and Japanese religion. Okay, so which dishes do you cook on Buddhist holidays? Do you celebrate the birthday of Buddha? Do you celebrate the birthday of Buddha? Okay. Coming back to our question, what do you think about new religions? Because there are plenty of religions in the world, and you can choose anyone, or you can even invent your own. Um, okay. So, but I know that on Thursday you had the Constitution, the day of the Constitution. So, actually, Ukraine, by the way, the first country which made the constitution was Ukraine. Despite some people can say that it was one of the European countries. Okay, so by the way, you had a constitution, the day of the constitution, on the last Thursday. So, tell me, did you have what kind of legislation did you have before constitution? Because in Ukraine, actually, the constitution was accepted and created in the 18th century. So we can say that democracy and constitution and human rights were first invented in Europe or in the United States of America, but actually the first constitution was created in Ukraine. And Children's Day holiday. And in Ukraine, by the way, we have the Children's Day on the 1st of June. This is the day of kids' right protection. Great. So kids holiday. Yeah, it was when I was a child, I really liked this feast, this the day of children, because I knew that. Yeah, for those interested in my age, I'm 29 years old, and I'm trying to follow the secrets of the Okinawa Okinawa island inhabitants. I'm trying to eat more fish, to take omega-3 fish oil. But my mom doesn't like. Living since I'm living with my mom. My mom doesn't like the smell of fish. That's why I guess I'm going to age like all Europeans, not like the Okinawa island inhabitants. I'm currently at the restaurant and enjoying my uh, my time here. This is not the store. Okay, so coming back to our question, our we have the kids' holiday on the 1st of June, and we celebrated. Well, my kids personally, they get any toys whenever they want, and they get any ice cream and going. I think it's everywhere in the world. People go with the kids into the malls each on the weekends. So there is nothing special about the Children's Day in Ukraine. But and luckily, because but of course, it's a very sensitive question because in Ukraine, more than 600 kids were killed because of the Russian aggression, and some kids are well living in the cellars of the houses for for months, for example, for the few weeks, eating what was there because they couldn't get out of the Russian invasion. So I think it's we should not forget about children's rights. But sometimes I think that adults must be protected from children, but that's okay. Okay, coming back to our question on holidays. So today, by the way, how is your name pronounced? The person who asked me where I am. Um, how? Okay, let me just Google it. Kaiser. Okay. In Ukraine, it's not a national holiday, and moreover, because of the emergency state in Ukraine, because of war, we have no national holidays being celebrated, like 8th of March, the Women's Day, or even the Independence Day of Ukraine. Usually, people used to celebrate and have a day off on that day. But currently in Ukraine, we have only days off like weekends, Saturday, Sunday, and that's it. And the 1st of June is not celebrated in Ukraine as a national holiday that you have a day off or you have any celebrations about it or parades. No, this is just a days like like normal day, but we know that on this day um people protect kids rights. Anyways, Ukraine is a country which follows the Convention of Human Rights, Convention of Children Rights, and there are no any precedents are happening against kids. But because but war corrected a bit the state because kids are stressed, kids have problems with speech, some of them kids hear sirens. That's why of course it is good actually to take a refugee status if you can somewhere else with if you have kids. But my kids got used to it, and they don't react too dramatically to the sirens that they can hear. Okay. um Kaiser, I've just googled your name. um do you celebrate religious holidays in Japan? Okay, so coming back to the topic about the constitution of Ukraine. The constitution of Ukraine is also the day, the national holiday, but currently because of the war we don't celebrate it. But the text of the constitution and the original document is being stored now in Sweden, and I think it happened historically because at that time, Ukraine had a union against Russia with Sweden. But Sweden, of course, more powerful than Ukraine in terms of weapons, in terms of army. That's why the text of our constitution is being stored in Sweden and in their museum. Uh, After Ukraine got at that time, Ukraine didn't have its name Ukraine. At that time it was the military state, and with the with the name person hetman. And the idea, the goal of that formation was to protect Ukraine, the borders of the country, of the people who were identifying themselves as one nation against Poland and against Russia and against Turkey. So that's why that formation had a constitution. And after that, what happened? Ukraine only got its independence in 1991 from the Soviet Union, and we got the new constitution on the 28th of June 1996. And what can you tell about your constitution? I know that you got it from the United States in 1945. So, Hirotaka, did you celebrate? Okay. Okay, guys, I'm regretting that I'm feeling sorry for the finishing of our life today. Um, you can always come up with any topics you want to discuss about Ukraine or about some international stuff, international matters, and see you next time. So have a great day today.